Hello, everyone. It's Quila here again. Um, I felt like it was time to go ahead and explain to y'all why I separated from my husband. I keep pointing out in my videos that I separated from him and that he doesn't know where we are. Till this day, he still doesn't know. So I figured it's time for me to explain what I mean by that. Um, well, it's kind of strange in a sense the way I handled it, but at the same time, I feel like I had valid reasons to do so. And then if you mix that with what I'm learning now about myself, as I stated in the last video of what I was starting to see and open my eyes to, a lot of that is starting for me. And at the same time, I'm set in my ways from a lot of things. And I know I have valid reasons for why I feel these ways. As far as why I separated from my husband, it's not something I wanted to do. It just kind of played itself out, and I guess here's my story for it. Well, as I told y'all before, I was married 2 times. My first husband was military, and he left me to be the one to pay the bills and stuff, and that was okay because I took on that role because I was raised to know that the woman of the house, make sure she takes care of the household. So I took on the bills, and he just made sure he did what he was supposed to do on his end as far as keeping the money coming in. I was a stay-at-home mom. I did start a daycare and all that stuff inside the home and all that, so I was able to still find ways to make money, but it still wasn't, I wasn't the provider in that relationship. He was. And, but there was a lot of other issues that went along with that marriage because of, we was young. I was like 20, 21, maybe when we got married. And at that age, like I now know at that age, there was no reason for us to be married. But I got my kids out of that marriage, and I'm very grateful for that because I really did always want children. And I'm just glad that I have them. Like, they're my everything when it comes to everything that I do is because of them. I live my life for my kids, so it's like I definitely am grateful for my kids being here. They're beautiful. I have 2 girls. They're beautiful. They're teenagers now, but now I'm in my second marriage, and I have a totally different type of guy than I had in the first marriage. The first marriage, there was no connection at all. We didn't have any type of, we just was 2 different backgrounds, and he didn't open to me and I didn't open to him. We were still too young when it came to what we was trying to put ourselves into. It was just a lot. But as far as the man I have now, he's a very gentle soul. Like, he's I don't know how to really, I know what he is as far as I can see him as this certain type of man, but to put it in words is kind of weird because it's like I see him as a gentle soul. I see him as a gentle giant. He's taller than me. He's much taller than me. He's uh more stocky type person. So I feel like he's one of them type of guys that is able to protect his lady. And he's not a type to go and get in fights or act like he has to prove something to the world. He's never been that type of person. He's always, set in who he is, and he's always been a person that wore his heart on his sleeve. He just doesn't want to tell you about it. He doesn't want to tell you what he feels about things, but you can see definitely that he has the most awesome heart ever because he will do anything to help you with anything. And I see that in how he treats his family. I see how he handles me. I see that in how he handles all his friends. And anytime anybody just asks him for help, he's there. And he's a great guy. He really is a great guy. He just wants somebody to just be good to him and trust him. And he's awesome. He really is. He's really awesome. Now, why did I separate from him is the question. because I I really I want to just say I got fed up and I'm tired. I'm so tired being a mom of two girls growing up around the same ages. They're only barely a year apart, and I've already been. I'm sorry, my cat just decided she wanted to play, and she's over here scratching at things. So if you hear little noises, it's because they're up and moving around like that right there. She's playing with a bag. But anyway, I I don't know really where to start because all my life I've been having to fight for everything I have, and all my life I had to, tough things out. I've always felt like I was alone in a lot of things, and that I had to stand up on my own on everything. And it's just one of them things like when I knew my husband when we first met when I was in high school, and I never really looked at him in that type of form. I just saw him because he would come over my mom's house, and he was my brother's best friend, and I would see him come by, and then my brother always made sure he was around and stuff like that, and they would smoke together, and he'd just be on the porch, and like the times when I just be outside chilling with my mom and my kids be outside playing, he would actually be sitting there playing with my kids. And it was something I never really thought of as far as being in a relationship with somebody like him. He's younger than me a little bit. I'm about to be 40, and he's, I want to say, just about to be 36. So it's like one of them things where I, even though I know he's a great guy, I can clearly see that. There is no doubt about that. I've seen that from day one, the way his values are, as in what he is and what he sees in the woman that he wants, is very straightforward. There's no doubt about that. I knew what I was getting into when I first met him. I knew what he felt was important. We talked about this stuff in the beginning, and somehow we just was like, we match up, and we just took it to the next step. My mom was the one that pointed out that he had love for us because she saw the way, older people just be wiser than you realize. And she saw the way he would play with my kids when they'd just be out there in the yard. And she saw how gentle he was with them, how much they were just excited to see him, how much they was just in this own little zone of their own. And he just adored them. And my kids at that time, they were, I want to say, about a good 5 years old, when he started really paying a lot of attention to them. And I mean, he's seen us here and there through the times, through the years, but when they was able to just run around in the yard with him and stuff, he was the one game for it. He was always there with them. He'll come over just to see them, even though he was supposed to be there for my brother, but he would come over just to sit there and spend time with my kids because he knew I was there. And it was just one of the things, like, I never looked at him in that form. And my mom, one day sitting on the porch, she was just like, that man loves you. He loves you, and he loves some kids. You need to check him out. And I was like, kind of blown from that, because I never looked at him like that. I never even thought in that way with him. I just saw him as a guy that was cool. Never spoke to him like that. Only the most I said was hi. But she was like, you need to check him out. I'm serious. You need to check him out. She was like, I feel like you need to really look into what he's thinking about you. And I never thought he thought about me at all, because I wasn't looking like that at that situation. I wasn't thinking of stuff like that. But it got me curious. It bugged the crap out of me. And I was like, I gotta check it out for myself, because I was like, no, I ain't trying to hear that. But by the time I went home, and I was just like, you know what? I'm so sick of everything that I've always seen, and you kind of attract the same people if you keep doing the same things. And even though I know I was about my business, I know I was about taking care of my kids the right way, I knew I was about making sure my household was intact, I just always seemed to be attracting the dudes that just was like, okay, you know, they want to be around, they want to call themselves wanting to marry me, but at the same time, they will still not want to help with things. And it was like they'll help here and there, or they'll give a couple of dollars if they felt like they wanted to, or they'll buy a meal or something. But it wasn't stuff that I needed. And of course, I didn't expect much from them anyway, because I wasn't living with them. Like, I can't expect you to pay my bills if you're not even living in the household. That don't make sense. So I didn't expect that much from them, but at the same time, I'm like, if you call yourself marrying somebody, you need to see the qualities. Like, if you're lining me up to marry you, I need to see that you're able to handle the things that I need to be handled, because I need to know how you're going to handle providing for a household. I'm already on that level. I don't need a guy that's going to kind of, take that down to where it's not being taken care of at all. That don't make sense to me. I wouldn't do that. I need my kids to take care of. I need my household to be taken care of. I'm not about to sit there and be with no dude that don't know how to help with, taking care of everything I need to take care of. And no, I'm not talking about him having to pay all the bills or anything like that. It's not like that. It's just the point of, if I need a man in my life, I need a partner. And I need somebody that's going to know how to take the other hand and to, do the proper roles of being a man inside this household, being a man inside my life, being a man for my children, being there, period. So that's my thought on that. But then I have my husband that came along, and yeah, he's a great guy. He has a great heart. There's nobody I will put above him at all. He's even in my past, I had somebody that I swore was my soulmate, and I still would not put him before my husband, because he doesn't even have the heart that my husband has. And I'm straight common sense on that. Like, there is no way you could have a passion for somebody, but at the same time, I know the type of quality I have in my husband, and there's nothing of that in the guy that I just thought I just wanted so bad back then. I was young back then, so it's like I didn't really know what I was looking for at that time. It's just, he kind of caught me off guard and blew my mind for a second. But now that I've gotten older, it's kind of like I have this man that wants to be here. He puts up with a lot that comes from a person like me. And mind you, I'm a very strong-minded person. I've learned how to be very independent through my dad. I make sure I take care of everything. I make sure I take care of my kids. I make sure my kids are not out there doing who knows what. I am very guarded over my kids. I make sure my household is protected. I make sure I try my best to make sure my bills is in line. And I may struggle sometimes. I may even go through this, but everything I do is calculated. Everything I am is calculated. I don't do anything without knowing what my plans are ahead of time. And I get that from my dad, because I've only saw him doing that. Anytime you see my dad, if he has to tell you something, he'll tell you something. But if he wasn't talking, you can tell he was sitting here contemplating his next move. You could tell he was sitting there deep thinking something. And I find myself very much like my dad. Even though I look just like my mom, I'm very much like my dad. I just now realizing how strong that is, and how it can be viewed as a masculine energy. And I understand. As in the last video, I understand how now it is viewed as a masculine energy, but I never knew that was what it was until now, because I just saw myself as strong-minded, and that I don't let nobody run over me, and that I'm able to get things done. I'm able to work through things, and I'm able to do all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm always on that I can handle everything on my own mentality. And I think that's where everything crosses when it comes to my husband, because when you have a man in the house, he needs to know that he has a role. He needs to feel that he is wanted. He needs to feel that he is needed. And it's very strong in him to need that. And I wasn't paying attention to that. Growing up, all you know is that they say you're supposed to get married. They say you're supposed to have a man. They say you're supposed to, just have somebody as this partner. And not many people know what partner means. So I was basically looking at it as a regular female aspect. Like, okay, I'm supposed to get married. My dad always said, don't have no babies until you get married. Had my kids in the first marriage. Cool. Got it done. But now I have this second husband who's been dying, and I mean dying for kids. And I just was like, nope, I'm not doing it, because I'm not about to raise another child by myself. I'm not doing it. And even though he's here, even though he is around, even though he is always making sure we're taken care of and things like that, in his way. Now I want to make sure I say in his way, he's making sure things are taken care of, because to him, yeah, he's doing everything right. But to me, I'm like, you could do more. You could do better. You need to stand up better than this, because to me, I'm like, I'm so strict in my ways, and I'm like, okay, if this bill needs to be done, if I can't handle that bill, I need you to pick up the slack. I don't want to wait for that bill to be past due, and then you're sitting here telling me, oh wait, I forgot. No, I don't got time for that. I need you to fall in line and be my partner, be my backbone, make sure I'm not falling because of you, or because I think that's what a partnership is supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to help me when I need help, and I'm not the type to sit there and be like, okay, I need you to do this, and that all the time. I'm silent when I make my moves, and I've always been the type that if I find in you one chance that I see in you that you just can't match up to what I need you to do, I basically emotionally shut off to you. If I leave something in your hands and I see that you can't take care of it, you only get one try. That one try is it. Now, I pretty much move on from that, and I just be like, you know what, I got it. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about me asking you ever again. When it comes to stuff like that. So I have done that a lot to my husband, and I didn't know that it was huge of a problem, because all this time I'm like, you know what, I'm just not letting him have the responsibilities that he's supposed to have as a man. I'm just gonna take it on my own. I hated the role of it, because I'm like, I'm supposed to be the lady. I'm supposed to be the one that is supposed to be taken care of. I'm supposed to be the one that the man is supposed to make sure is straight. And I like to make my own money. I learned in my first marriage, make your own money, because my first husband, he tried so hard to control that. And it ended up being, I didn't have any money, and he took all the money, and then my bills was not able to get paid because he had a hissy fit about something. So then it ends up being, I had to try to figure out things on my own. And once I learned that, I was like, nope, I'm never going to be in this position again. I have to make my own money. And I've grown into that to where it's very strong in me. And being that my dad already taught me how to be a provider and stuff, it was just natural instinct for me to have to always be on that level. And now I have this man that came to me and said, I'm ready to move in with you. I want to move into your home and be a family. And I never went to him about that when we first started being in a relationship. We just was enjoying each other's time, and we seen each other. Of course, he stayed the night at that time. At that time, I wasn't learning the Bible yet, so it was kind of like I was just living and doing what I felt was what I needed to do. So I was, he was invited to my home. He was able to stay the night, and we hung out. At that time, we would smoke with him. I smoked cigarettes back then too. At that time, I didn't think nothing was of it. But then he comes to me one day and he was like, I'm ready to move in. And I was like, you know what? I actually felt that it was time, but I didn't want to bring it to you, because I didn't feel that I should rush anything, and I wasn't trying to rush anything. It's just, I didn't know if I was ready for that, because I am a woman with children in my household. I can't just be inviting dudes to my house. That's not me. I'm not one of those type of females. So when he felt like he wanted to take it to that level, I was like, okay, he's trying to make this something serious. And he knew my living situation. He knew where I came from. He knew I used to be married. He knew all that. So it was like, he wanted to take this step when he didn't have to. And I was like, okay. The first thing I was like, well, let's talk about the bills. And he, he's always been one to make money. He's quick to make money. Only thing is he doesn't make it the way I've been raised to know a man is supposed to make money. I've been always shown that a man is supposed to have a consistent job or business, and he's supposed to have consistent income coming in, and that way he will be able to provide for the household and make sure everything is straight, make sure the family and the kids is right. But the way my husband was raised is you can make money. His dad raised him to make money. He even helped him start a business. He has a business. It's just, does he want to work it or not is the question. When he feel like it, he'll do it. But when he doesn't feel like it, he's not caring. And he has other ways to make money too. He will go deal poker, and he'll make a few to $700 or more a night. And I'm sitting here like, okay, so I see he can make it. When he asked to move in, I was like, I know he can help with bills. That's fine. But he just does it in a different way. And at that time, being that, I'm who I am, I'm like, okay, I know your money is sporadic. I brought it to him like that. I was like, I know your money is sporadic. I know you can make it when you need to. I know you're regularly making money, but I know you never lived on your own before like I have. So I'm like, okay, let me be reasonable with you. I just want you to help with everything around the house. Like, as far as cleaning and taking care of the kids, I got that. Don't worry about it. I have that. I'll take them to the appointments. I'll take them back and forth to school. I'll make sure they're fed and everything like that. You don't have to worry about anything. Just make sure you're there for them. I'll do the lady stuff of the house. But all I need you to do is help with the bills. And he was like, okay, I can handle that. And I was like, at that time I was like, I'm not really about to break down all my bills to you, because I'm not really that open with my personal business. So I just basically showed him the main things and was like, okay, all I need you to do is just help me with like $200 a month. Can you handle that? And he was like, yeah, I could do that, because I already knew he could make the money each day. I just didn't know until after that if he was going to be consistent with it or not. And that's where the problem started. And it was like that first month, he gave me $200. And then after that, it was kind of like he stopped. And it was like he would pay anything. It wasn't even a consistent basis. It was more like if I told him I needed a couple of dollars, or if I needed a bill paid, he'll sit there and be like, here's $20, or here's $60, or here's $80. And I'm like, that's nothing. That's not helping me pay no bills. My bills was a lot more than that. I had a mortgage to pay. I had the household bills to pay. I had groceries and stuff I had to bill. I had car issues I had to deal with. I had gas I had to pay for. I had a phone bill. I had all real life bills to pay with. And you're telling me between $20 to $60 to $80, that's all you can give me when I know you're making more money than that outside? And I'm like, that's crazy. But I mean, he wouldn't just be like, here, this is all you get. He would never do that. He would just be like, okay, here's what I can give you right now. And he'll give it to me. And then I'm not the type that's going to keep begging you about it or bugging or anything. So if you already said you was going to help me, and if you was already going to give it to me, I just expected you to follow through on your end. I had to ask you over and over again what happened, or ask you 50 million times, oh, where's the money? I'm not that type of female. I'm not on that level of where I'm going to bug you about every little thing you said. I'm not that type of female. So if I see that you don't have it, or you just choosing not to give it to me, then I'm going to find other ways to figure it out. So when it came to, he stopped paying anything for helping me around the house, I started closing up. And I started seeing, that he just wasn't trying to make that important anymore. And it's kind of like I expected a little bit of it. I just didn't think it was going to actually happen, because I knew he wasn't never the type to live on his own yet, because he was always living in his dad's house. So for me to think that he could manage a lot of responsibility, it was kind of out of the question. I already knew he couldn't take care of that, because he never really experienced that on his own. So I understood that. But at the same time, I'm like, you're grown, just like I'm grown. You should be able to handle certain type of bills, or you should be able to know when I say I need this, go get it and take care of it. Don't just sit there and have me waiting for it and all that stuff. Because I'm not going to sit here and harass you about it. I'm too grown for that. I'm not about to sit here and lose my mind because of something you're doing. So I'm going to end up finding my other way. And if I even had the nerve to come to you about anything, I'm pretty much on my last ends of trying to get help for it anyway. I've already probably calculated all kinds of other moves before I even came to you. So I'm like, why do I have to deal with this? So it was a lot of that going on. And then little things around the house, like I told you in the previous video that my townhouse that I had, the last house I sold, it had a lot of space. It was a nice townhouse, but it was a townhouse that needed a lot of work. And the floors needed to be done. I'm sorry, you probably hear my cats running around. They're losing their mind right now. But my townhouse, it needed a lot of work. The floors needed to be done. The walls needed to be painted. There was a squirrel that lived in my roof that kept digging holes in my ceiling. Little things like that. And being that he has a business of doing household structural stuff like tile flooring and anything else around the house, he knew how to do as far as rebuilding and structuring the house. That's what his dad and his brothers and stuff, they all have this type of business and they know what they're doing, and he is very talented in it. So I don't put that past him at all. He is very skilled at what he does. But when I asked him to help me around the house, it was like I couldn't get help out of him. It was like he would just purposely put me on the back burner. He would tell me no, he can't do it, but let one of his friends be like, yo, I need your help with this. He's gone. He is so gone. He would shoot out there so fast and leave me with whatever else I had to deal with. And I'm like, why is it that I have to be on the back burner to your friends? Like, I'm your wife. Why is it that I don't feel like I'm the first that you think about? And I had a big problem with that because I'm like, I should be the one that you go to first and take care of first. I felt like that's what he was supposed to do. And I still feel that way because that's what a husband is supposed to do. Make sure the household is taken care of. And if I feel like I need your help with something, I need you to help me. I shouldn't have to go find it somewhere else. You know what I mean? So it was little things like that. And to me, they were huge things because I'm like, I am trying to rely on you. I'm trying to count on you. And you're fighting against everything I'm trying to do. And I had to sit there and try to figure out how to get my floors done by myself, even though I had a man that knew how to do my floors. I had to figure out how to do it myself. I tried 2 times to do it on my own, and I did a great job. I really think I did a great job. I did awesome. I put the laminate flooring on the upstairs and stuff, and then the downstairs, I wanted it to be laminate floor in the living room and the middle room that was like a dining room area, and then I wanted tile in the kitchen. So that was the last time I tried to mess with that floor. I actually had bought all the stuff with my tax money, and what happened was I bought everything that I needed. I had it sitting in my house for months because I was like, okay, when am I going to start? I don't know when I'm going to start. I ripped up all the carpet already. My house was just straight concrete for some months, and I was like, okay, one day I'm gonna get to this. And he just kept asking me, why don't you let me do it? And I was like, I can't trust you in that because you have shown me over and over again how you don't want to help me with things, and I don't want you to start something that you're not going to finish. So I always told him, no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out. He kept sitting here bugging me. No, let me do it. Why would you have another guy come and do this when you know I can do it? I'm not even going to charge you anything. Just let me do it. I'll pay for the materials. I'll get everything you need. Just let me do it. And I'm still like, you showed me already I can't trust you. And I'm like, no, I will figure it out. I will pay somebody to come in here and do it and make sure it gets done. And it was terrible that I had to feel that way because I'm like, I should be able to count on you. I should, as my husband, you should be there for me. And I did not feel that out of him. I still, to this day, I have to figure out, is that something that he's able to do? Because I still, all the way up until now, I still feel like he always put his family, his immediate family, and his friends before me. And I'm a very particular person when it comes to I need to be the main person in your life. It for some reason it's like, to me, I'm like, if I'm your wife, I need to be seen as important to you. And I don't think that's irrational. I don't think that's wrong. You're supposed to feel this way. You're supposed to feel like you're important to that person as your partner, as your backbone, and your husband, even as your wife. I need to feel like I am needed for you. I need to feel like you want me for these reasons, and that you can take care of this type of stuff, and that we can do this and build this together. But for some reason it was like I felt pushed behind. I felt that he was just not making it important, and it caused me to shut down emotionally. I didn't want to do anything that had to do with interacting with him. I went straight into I'm all about my business mode. I went into not needing him for anything. And when it kind of changed even more also too, I didn't even mention this. When I through the years I started learning the Bible. I started studying with a Jehovah's Witness, and I saw that everything she was showing me, and I'm the type that I don't just take what you tell me, I want you to prove it. And everything she showed me, everything she was telling me, I asked her to prove it to me in the Bible. I don't want to hear what you think about it. I don't want to hear what people say about it. I want to hear you prove it to me. I want you to prove it to me in the Bible and tell me and show me what you're saying is right. So she took the challenge, and she definitely was the right one for it, because I am very stubborn and I'm not going to just listen to what you got to say. So when she seen that I was a challenge, she took that head on, and she was awesome with it. And she proved everything to me. Any questions that I had, she had a backup. She had a scripture for it. She showed me what the scripture, and there was not just one scripture. She showed me multiple scriptures that answered the questions that I had. And I was like, wow, this gotta be the truth. Like, it's gotta be real. And I've always been one to look for the Bible. I've always been one to try to figure out, what is God about? Who is God? Where is he? Why do I feel like I'm alone? And things like that. And when she started showing me these things, it just really blew my mind of how much I did not know about the Bible, because the Bible has always been something that I could not understand, because it was all that hit, thou, fifth, buff, and I did not understand none of that. So I've always had Bibles in my house. I just didn't know how to read them. So when she came along, and I tried different churches, I tried other studies with different people from different churches, and they was all into, yeah, they say they study the Bible, but they was not telling me anything. They just would just pick one scripture and just focus on that, and then tell what they think the scripture meant. And it wasn't even in line. Now that I started learning the Bible, it wasn't even in line with what the Bible was actually talking about. So when she came and started studying with me, I had to change a lot out of my life. I had to quit smoking, even though I was already trying to quit smoking. But it was one of the things, like, because like I said, I know what a lady is supposed to be. I was raised to know what a lady is supposed to be. And what I was doing growing up, to me, I already knew I was not a lady, because I don't feel ladies are supposed to smoke. I don't feel ladies are supposed to be ones that use foul language or cursing. That is not a lady. It's not ladylike at all to me. And I did all that. I was one that was very sailor mouth with my mouth, and I was one to smoke cigarettes. I smoked weed and everything. Nothing else other than weed and cigarettes. But I was out there having sex without marriage. I was not with a lot of dudes, but I did have my hand to play, and I knew how to play my hand on when it comes to when I wanted to be given attention to, or when I just wanted to be left alone. I knew which ones I was playing at the time. And so when I get my husband around, and before we got married, I started learning the Bible, and I started realizing I had to change a lot. And it was more of it was a journey that I had to deal with for my personal reasons. It had nothing to do with him. It was more of, I knew I've been already searching for God all my life, and nobody else found that important. But for some reason, it was very important to me to learn about the Bible, to learn what God meant. And I just, when she showed it to me, it was like, oh my God, this is it. I know this is it. She proved everything. I know this is it. Everything made sense. For the first time in my life, everything made sense. And I was like, oh my God, the things that I'm doing in my life, I got to clean this up, because I don't want my God to be mad at me. And when it comes to, I had to clean my life up, it changed the aspect of my relationship with my husband. And this is before we got married. So one of the things I learned when I was doing my Bible study was that you have this man living in your home. You're not married. God does not like that. So I was like, oh shoot, okay, what am I going to do about this situation? I need to fix this. And I needed to quit smoking cigarettes, and I needed to make sure I don't smoke weed. And I had a lot of changing. I found out that there was a lot of things that I had in my house that had to do with idolatry and having false worship and stuff like that, like celebrating the holidays and things. And I was like, wow, I didn't know. I always knew I was a good person, but I did not know I was that far off away from Jehovah, away from God, period. And I was like, wow, okay, all right, I gotta take it on. And when I see truth, I gotta take it on. So I'm like, okay, I gotta clean this mess up. So what I did was I went to my husband, and he knew I was studying because he seen the ladies at the house, and he didn't want nothing to do with it, but he was always pleasant and polite, and he'll come in and do what he had to do in upstairs, and then he'll come back out and say goodbye and walk out the door. But he didn't want nothing to do with it. He didn't want to sit in on the studies. He didn't want to learn anything. He never, still to this day, he's like, yeah, I think I know the Bible already. But I'm like, you really don't know what you're not seeing in this Bible, because I didn't even know. And anybody could just read the Bible, but do you actually understand it, and what is actually the purpose of it is the question. And it's not just about reading the scriptures. It's much, much more than that. It's much more meaning than that. And there is a direct message, and it's not left up to interpretation. And I learned all that, and I'm still learning. It's a lot that you still continuously learn, and it's awesome. It's completely awesome, I'm telling you. But when it came to my husband, I had to tell him, okay, you got to make a decision. We've already been together for 2 years, and we know that we want to be together, but I can't go on having you living here and we're not married. It doesn't go along with the Bible, and the Bible is very important to me. So I had to break it down to him like that. And I wrote it in a letter, because I'm the type that if I want to say something to you from the heart, it doesn't come out my mouth the right way. I'm very blunt with my mouth, and I speak with frustration when it comes to my mouth. I need to talk to you from the heart, which means I need to write it. That way I can speak it from a real aspect and not have all the frustrations in the way. So I write it down, and I love the way I write, because it's kind of like a poetic form, and I speak in a completely different form than what I speak out loud. And my husband knows this about me, but he still is one that says, why don't you just tell me what you feel? And I'm like, I can't, I don't know how. But I wrote him a letter, and I was like, with the stuff that I'm learning from the Bible, I can't continue to live the way we are living. I have to know what your plans are, because I need to make decisions now. I'm trying to go closer to God, and we've been together for 2 years. I need to know what your plans are, because right now, if you're not planning to marry, I need you out of my home. I'm raising 2 girls, and I don't need them to see that it's okay biblically at all to have a man just in your home and you're not even married. I don't need that to be something my kids are okay with, or even numb to. So I brought it to him like that, and of course he was upset. He took the letter, and he basically left the house and went, and I guess he needed time for himself for a minute to take in what the letter was saying. And it was a long letter. It was like a good 2 pages. And I explained to him my position and what needed to change and things like that, and to see what his decision is going to be. And I was like, basically, if you don't want to marry right now, I'm going to have to just move on without you, and you're going to have to move out. And he was like, very disturbed by this letter. And um, it turned into, he left for that day, and he came back real late. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And when he came back crying. And he was like, I have no idea what to do. We know we was going to get married. He was like, I know I want to marry you. But he was like, I don't know if we're ready for this. I don't think we're ready for this. And he was like, I'm not ready for this financially. I'm not financially ready for a marriage. But he was like, but I don't want to lose you. And he was like, I love you. I love those kids. I don't want to lose you. He was like, you're my family. I don't want to go nowhere. And I was like, well, what is your decision? And I was like, because, until you get on your feet of what you're trying to do, you can go ahead and go about your business. That's fine. But I can't have you here. And he was like, I'm not trying to leave nowhere. He was crying, y'all. He was really crying. And I felt bad, but at the same time, I had to stand my ground. And it was sad, but at the same time, I was like, I had to stand my ground, because I don't want you just to do this and to make a decision and want to marry just because you feel like I'm pulling you pulling your leg on it. I don't want that from you. I don't want you to sit there and think this is what you have to do just to keep me. And yeah, if you want to be here, yeah, we need to go that step, because that's not how I was raised. My dad did not raise us to be that way. But with everything in life that you see, it just seemed like it was common. So it was okay for the moment. But right now, I'm learning better than that. And when you learn better, you're supposed to do better. So I learned that that's not what God wants from you. That's not what God wants from a marriage or a household or anything. So I was like, okay, what are your plans? He was like, I know we're going to get married one day. And I'm like, but it's been 2 years. What's that one day? How long is it going to be? And he got friends that's been together for like 30 years. One of his brothers has been together for over 30 years with his lady, and they have children that are in college. And I'm like, nope, not doing it. And they've never been married. No, not doing it. So people in his family and his friends, they don't marry. And I'm like, I can't do that, because I was not raised that way. Everybody in my family, we got married. So I'm like, no, that's not how I was raised. I'm not about to do that. So, it got to the point where he was like, we're just going to get married. Because I was like, no, don't just sit there and say that, because you saying that just because that's what you think you need to do. And he was like, no, I don't want to lose you. We're just going to have to get married. And I was like, is that what you really feel? Because I don't want you to just be making these decisions like that when it comes to you think I'm just forcing you or something like that. He was like, no, I have to do what's right. And he was like, we just want to have to get married. And I was like, okay, well, if that's what it is, I mean, you don't have to do this. You can just go ahead and just go find somebody else that's able to fit your needs. And he was like, no, I want you. So it ends up being, we ended up getting married, like, I want to say 3 months later. And right before that, my mom had died. My real mom died. And I was hoping she was going to be at the wedding too, but it didn't happen that way. But yeah, so we ended up getting married. But here's one of the things that I thought would be better. And as a female, you for some reason you think that if you're married, yeah, it might fix a few things. But we got married. I married him. And then I'm still seeing the same stuff out of him, where I can't get his help for things. And I had to sit here and look at him like, why are you not helping with the bill that I told you I needed help with? Or if I needed help with my car, why are you not being a man to help me with stuff like that I need? Why is it that I have to feel like I'm fighting for your attention versus your friends and stuff. Like when they call for you, you're gone. And when I tell you that I need something to help with, you just like, oh, you have a decision that you don't feel like it. And I'm like, how does that make sense? I don't understand. And this one time, this is how much not important I felt that my husband saw me as. And one day he got sick, and he was, I think he was throwing up a little bit, and he was very nauseous. He needed to lay down. He was always on the go. He needed to lay down and just heal. You know what I mean? He was coughing and everything like that. And being that he's always on the go, you know, I knew he was worn out. He needed to just sit still for a second. As his wife, I took that as a duty. And I was like, I need to take care of my husband. He's sick. I need to be there for him. I was like, I'm going to make you some soup. I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. You just need to stay home and just let me take care of you. I want to take care of my husband. And I gave him some medicine and everything. And I was like, no, don't go nowhere. Just let me take care of you. But my husband took that as, no, not doing it. He took the medicine. He didn't even care to eat the soup. And he was like, I gotta go. And he got up and left while he's up here just sneezing and coughing and hocking up stuff and draining and everything. And I'm sitting here like, no, you need to stay here with me. I need to take care of you. And he was like, no, I got to do stuff. I'm not staying home. He's never been one to stay home for some reason. I don't know if he's just scared to stay home or what, but I've never seen him be that type to where he just wants to stay home with his family. And I took a problem to that real hard because I'm like, why are you so scared to be here and not let me just love on you? I don't understand that. I don't know where that's coming from him. I don't know what that stems from at all. I don't know what has been part of his life before I knew him. So I don't know where that came from. But all I know is that I had to deal with it. And it took a lot out of me that day because I was really trying to show him that I wanted to care for him. And to show him that that's what a woman is supposed to do for her man. And he took that and just went straight left with it. And he was just like, I'm not staying here. I even took his keys and I was like, you're not getting in the car. No, you're supposed to stay here. And he actually caught an attitude with me because I did that. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, I don't understand this whole process at all. Like, you're supposed to want me to take care of you and help you heal. And I didn't understand why it was so important for him to leave. I still don't. And there was other little situations like that where one other one that I remember is that something happened to him when I separated from him. Because I'm always been one to like, if you don't work out with me, you don't, be something that I need around the house and my life, I'm going to get rid of you real easily. I have no problem with cutting ties with people. I have no problem with just kicking you out the door real quick. So I don't waste time yelling and fighting with you. I'll just be like, you just need to go. Get out. Just go. And I put him out so many times through the years. I don't do it no more. Well, I'm separated now, so I guess I still do it. I don't know. But not in the way I used to do it. But before it was like, I swear I was putting him out every week because of not helping with me with anything that I had to do with life. And I had no problem with doing it because it was like, if you're not going to man up and do what I need you to do around the home or just taking care of us, period, I need you to leave. I don't want you here because you're obviously not making it important to you. And the Bible lady, she had to let me know, you can't keep doing that. She was like, I see that you keep putting him out. Why is he not here? And I was like, he didn't want to help with this or whatever the reason was. And she was like, you cannot do that. If you're planning to be married to this man, this is way before we even got married. And she was like, if you're planning to even marry this man, you need to respect him. You cannot keep putting him out your house. That's not good biblically. And when we got married, she was like, once you do get married, this is not allowed, period. Not biblically. This is not allowed. You're not allowed to do this. And she was like, you need to make a decision now on how you're going to treat him. So biblically, once I learned and actually studied and actually figured out what the right way to do that on, yeah, it was hard for me not to do it. But I had to really die down on it. I really had to not just throw them out just because I didn't feel a certain type of way. So I stopped putting them out. But then it came to the point where I started resenting a lot of it because I'm now living with this guy that still doesn't care. And he still doesn't want to be part of nothing. He still wants to keep leaving. He still doesn't want to, help around the house. He's still putting everybody else above me and above my kids. We have to beg you for attention type thing. And I'm just like, now what am I going to do now? Because now I'm like, I feel stuck. I really feel stuck because he's a great guy, but he doesn't want to. And you can't force somebody to want to do anything. And it's just like, wow, like, what am I supposed to do now? So I got to the point where, oh yeah, I was telling y'all, he one day got hurt somewhere. I don't know what happened. It was during one of the times that he got put out. And all I know is I went on Facebook and I seen that he posted something about he had to go to the hospital about something. And I'm sitting here like, first of all, why didn't I know any of this? And this is after we got married. And I'm sitting here like, I'm your wife. Why did I not know you had to go to the hospital? And he was like, I just didn't think to tell you. I didn't think you would care. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, it don't matter what we're going through. You're supposed to tell me that. You're supposed to tell me something like that. And we was not really on good terms at that time. So it was like, he just felt like it was not needed. But at the same time, I'm like, that's besides the point. I'm your wife. I am supposed to know things that happen seriously for you. And there was something that had to do with his hand. I don't remember what exactly it was, but he chose to keep me out of it. And his family, his immediate family, his sisters and brothers, they were all there. And they chose to leave me out of it. And I felt that was very wrong. And I guess I just had to deal with it, basically, because I didn't know what else to do at that point. And I felt very alone in my relationship with him all through these years. I felt like I was just stuck in another place where I'm always alone, and that I just had to always do things on my own and take care of my kids on my own. And yeah, he would play with them, and if they wanted something, he'll go buy them something. And y'all, he used to do these things to me when we first got in a relationship. And I missed him so much. I missed them so much because it was cute little things he would do. He felt like it was important. I can't even say that he never made me important, because he did. In the beginning, he did. He made a choice to make sure that he gave me something whenever he felt like he had to leave me for the night to go do poker or anything that has to do with making money. So when he would leave, or even when he came back, he always bought me a Snickers. And I never really cared about Snickers like that, but I did love Snickers. And he would always make sure I had a Snickers just to, I guess, make me happy in some form. It was like one of them things, like, he knew it wasn't much, but he knew it made me happy. And just the point of him doing something just to be a thought, it was really cute, and I adored it. And I got so sick of having Snickers, but at the same time, I felt that was special, that he felt like he thought of me while he was out there, and that he would just go to the store real quick and just grab me something just so I could sit there and be pleasant when he did come home, I guess. I don't know what he felt out of it, but it always made me smile, and just knowing that he cared that much. So he did do things in the beginning, and like, he would always, whenever he leave anywhere, he would always kiss around my face, the chin, the cheeks, the eyes, the forehead, around the forehead, around, and then he'll end up at my nose. And it was adorable. Like, he would do all those little things, and it was really adorable. He would make sure he gave me nice big squeeze hugs and just sit there for a second until he just was like, okay, I'm good, I'm ready to go. And he's my big teddy bear. He's very special. But then all of a sudden, I shut off to him because of the stuff that was frustrating me. And I can't even blame him for that. I shut off to him because of what I was seeing. And it made him shut off to me of those type of things that he used to do. And then it ended up being, we don't really have no real connection in the middle. And it was just like we were just living as roommates and not a relationship. It was completely different and off, and I don't know what to call it, because it's like I see now what it was, and now that I'm learning more of what I may have been a play of in this whole situation, of how I spoke to him and how I demanded a lot, I guess, out of him. I would still say that I don't demand a lot. I just expect you to be a man. And it's not like I told him to make sure he take care of everything. I always make sure I take care of a lot. And it was just, I guess now that I'm seeing how I was to him through these years, I can see now how I played a huge part of him shutting down because of how I viewed things and how I shut down towards him when all he wanted me to do was just to respect him and to care. And it's crazy because I did this for so many years, and now he's saying he's numb and that he doesn't feel anything anymore, even though he still wants to be here for us, even though he still says he loves it. He still to this day calls me beautiful, and I'm like, wow, I really don't deserve the type of heart he has. I really don't. And I'm very thankful that he's even trying to stay around, because if it was me, on the other hand, I told him, he was like, when I separated from him, he was like, how would you feel if somebody or just separated from you and took the kids too? And I was like, you know what? If it was me that was in your shoes, and you had your own children, and you said, okay, I'm leaving you, but we still cool and stuff, but we separated right now, and you took your kids and left and didn't tell me where you was, I would have been gone. You wouldn't have to have no question about it. I would have been gone. You were not going to treat me like that. And he was like, well, how is this okay for you to do this to me? And it's not okay for me to do this to you. And I was like, well, one, this is what I actually told him. I said, that's your preference to stay around. My preference is you're not going to treat me like that. But that's what my standards are for the man that's in my life. But you have your own preferences. You chose to stick around. You can leave anytime. I'm not holding you here. All you have to do is say you got to go. You don't have to be here. I gave you so many opportunities to leave. You don't want to leave. That's your preference. And he just was like, wow. But like I said, I've always been a direct and blunt person when it comes to things. Don't ask me a question if you don't want to hear the truth. You don't want to hear what I say about it. Don't ask me nothing, because I will be capable of hurting your feelings in the process. And I know how to do it. And I'm learning now I need to really change how I see things. And it ain't even about how I see things, just how I speak about things and how I view things I need to look at the bigger picture versus it's all about me. And I never thought I was an all about me type of person. But now I'm seeing, yeah, if I look back on all the stuff we've done and all the relationship we had, it's definitely been now about me, because I'm always you either going to do this or you're just going to be gone, because I'm not going to sit here and fuss with you about it. If you show me that you don't want to, I'm not going to care, and I'm going to just leave you out of the equation. So I'm just one of those. And I never knew that was called masculine energy this whole time. I just thought it was strong-minded. But now it got to the point where it was time to sell my house. And like I told you in one of the other videos, I didn't tell him anything until it was time to start packing up, because I didn't want him to see that I was packing up and he didn't know what was going on. So I had to let him know then. So when I did, I was like, we're going to leave. I'm selling my house at this such and such date. You need to find you a place to go, because you can't come with us, me and my kids. You cannot come with us. I already had in line what me and my kids were going to do. We already been out looking. We already found a place. We already made sure we scheduled everything. We already talked to the people. We already knew where we was going. And we was already excited. But with him, I knew he can always go back to his dad's house. That's where I picked him up from. I knew he can go back to his dad's house. So I didn't have a worry about where he was going to go. But I had to let him know, I'm selling my home. And you need to find you a place. because once this house sells, you can't come back here, and we're not going to be here, and you can't come with us. And I took that role because of the fact that I'm like most females, if I have to do everything on my own, why do I need you? I don't want to have to be in a marriage again and still be taking care of kids on my own, and still be running the household on my own, and still have to watch you keep walking out the door and keep not coming back until all hours in the early morning, 1 through 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm already asleep and the kids are already asleep, and when I get up you're asleep, and then when I come back from work you're just now leaving. And it's just like, that's not a relationship to me. And why am I going to be feeling stuck and frustrated when I could just leave? I left. It was like I checked out of everything. I was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm tired. I know how to take everything on my own. And if I didn't, I can figure it out. My dad raised me to know how to think for myself. I don't need you here. And if you don't want to be here, I'm not going to force you to be here. You show me over and over again that I can't count on you. So why try to keep that around? And then it was the point of like, I just needed a break. I got sick of coming home to a person that was not trying to put me first, and I needed a break. So I said, I'm separating from you. And for me to do it in a way that's not logical or not ideal, and not tell him where I am, yeah, it's kind of weird and disturbing. I get that. I definitely understand that, because that's not something I've seen. It's just I felt like I had to put myself in that position, because I knew if I told him where I was, where I am, that he was going to come. He was going to come over. He was going to keep coming over, and it was going to be like we never separated at all. He was going to keep trying to stay over or keep trying to be in our presence. And then next thing you know, like one of the other problems I had with him, he always tells his family everything they got to do with us. And like I said, I'm a very private person. I don't need your family and your friends to know anything that goes on in my household. That's just not how it's supposed to be. You are supposed to be respecting me enough to where I can trust that whatever goes on between us stays between us. And I will find out things. He still doesn't know how I know these days, but I keep telling him, I know when you're telling somebody something, because I find it from them. They tell on it, like on Facebook or some type of social media, or they'll come out their mouth and say something sideways to me, and it's like it's telling on them. And I'm like, I clear as day can see that you're telling people things that have no business going into their ears, and you expect me to trust you with my personal business. I just can't. So when I said, okay, you can't know where we are, I really took that to the head. And I was like, I don't want you to know, because I don't want you to come over here, for one, to be sitting here thinking you can come and go as you please, and then it's never a separation. And then on top of that, it will just be frustrating to me, because if you're going to keep coming around, I want you to be here as my husband, not as just somebody that just keeps passing through. And I'm not going to sit here and do all that marriage stuff with you if you're just passing through. And so it's just going to put me in a place that I'm not really trying to be in. And then knowing that you like to talk about stuff, I'm not trying to hear it come out of your people's mouth where I am, what I'm doing. I'm not ashamed at all where I am. I love where I am. I'm content. I'm happy with it. Only thing is I don't need none of y'all in my business. Like, I don't care for these people to be in my business when it comes to his family and stuff, because they already don't like me. I don't care to have them knowing anything about me, because if you already took the time to not get to know me, but you wanted to hate me from get-go, I don't need you in my business. And I'm already private anyway. I just was raised that way. But it is what it is. And of course now I'm seeing that, yeah, that might be the wrong move. So I right before the pandemic started, that's when I went ahead and separated. I didn't know this pandemic was coming, and I separated a few months before the pandemic started, and we already moved out. We already sold the house. I already started living in a hotel for the first year. We already was moved in. We already was liking the place. We already was living life the way we was doing, and he just didn't know. And he kept in touch with us. We made sure we kept in touch with him on a regular basis, almost a daily basis. And It was just, he just didn't know where to find us if he wanted to find us. And of course, little situations came up to where, we needed a man around when it comes to, you're living in a hotel. There's guys here. There's people that is going to test certain things because they see a female. They see three females because my kids are like my height, and we all look like three broads just sitting around here. And in a hotel, you see guys that just are needing attention from a female, and I'm like, no, this is not what it's going to be. So I make sure we stay to ourselves, stay private, and we're staying respectable about ourselves and stuff like that. So that's never been a problem. But little things like when we had my dogs, my kids will go out and walk the dogs, and there will be grown men that think they can talk to my children, and that's when I step in and I have a problem, because there's no reason why a grown man need to be talking to my child. So I will always have a problem, and things like that. And I told my husband about one of the situations, and he was like, just tell me where you are, because I need to be there. And I hear you. I heard him. I know as a man what he felt and why he felt like he needed to be there as a protection. But in my head, I was still like, I can't. I just can't, because it was too many other frustrations on top of that. And I was just like, I know you need to be here. I know for a fact that you're supposed to be here, but I can't. I don't know what to say at this point. It's just like, I need to fix all this. And now the pandemic is here, and my husband is not the type to even believe in this pandemic. He's not wearing masks. He's going around everybody. He still goes to poker. He still goes and do his, his towel business. He's around everybody. There's people coming and going in his daddy's house all day long, every single day. He's not at all caring about, catching anything or anything being contagious or being around people that might give him an infection on this. But I'm just like, if it wasn't for the pandemic, you probably would have been home by now. Seriously. I told him that a few times. You probably would have been home by now. But with all this going on outside, it's like I can't risk infecting us or my children, because you're around a lot of people. And I can't take that risk of you coming in here and contaminating us, and then next thing you know, we die. No, no, I'm not about to do that. I'm not going to sit there and want you back so bad to where I'm going to put our health at risk. Not going to do it. So it's a big thing at play right now, and he doesn't understand it, because he's like, no, this stuff is fake, and this is not real, and this is and that, and he's like, just get me home. And I'm like, I hear you, but I can't, because my kids are top priority to me, and I cannot just allow you, knowing you around everybody. And even if you was coming here and you're still going out everywhere to still do poker, still be around all them people, still be around everybody in your family, still be around everything, it's too risky. It really is for me. It's way too, and I'm very paranoid about stuff. So I'm very, very paranoid about him being around at all. And that's the main reason why I'm like, you can't know where we are, because I don't need you just popping up, because I don't want to have to worry about, because I know my husband, he's going to want to hug, he's going to want to kiss, he's going to want to do all that. And I don't need him putting that on my kids. I don't need him to put that on me. I don't want to have to worry about him contaminating us, and if we feel some type of sickness or stuff like that, I have to worry about where it came from. I don't want to have to deal with none of that. So right now we're pretty peaceful, as long as I keep him away. And somehow I'm glad it worked out the way it did, because it happened, the move and everything happened right like 3 months before the pandemic started, before I started seeing that it was spreading around the states. But I'm glad that it happened that way, because it was kind of like God helped me do that move just so we did not have that, outcome come out where we got infected by it. But at the same time, I don't know if it had anything to do with God. It was just more of, I made the moves, and here's the outcome of the moves. And now I have to live with my decisions, because now I can't really risk him coming around, because of, I don't want to get health issues because of it or die from it, and my kids and stuff. And my biggest fear is my kids being alone because something happened to their mom. And I fight each day to make sure I stay here, to make sure I'm not getting sick or dying, and my kids got to be left alone by the car, because who are they going to go to? Like, seriously. their father, their birth father, doesn't care. My husband, of course, he loves them, and of course, he would love them to be with him, but you can't take care of them if you not want to provide. So how is that going to happen? You can't even get your own place on your own. So how would you support my children? So it's like I don't have nothing for my kids to go to, and all I just hope for is to stay here long enough until they get grown enough to be able to handle themselves, and to hopefully prepare them for that outcome of them living on their own. And I try to start these businesses and stuff like that. That way I can let them branch on to where they have a business and they don't have to worry about getting out on their own, because they will be taken care of already, and money wouldn't be an issue. But I'm just being a mom. That's all I can say. I care for my children. They're top priority, and I'm just being a mom. And I can't afford for my husband to come home to mess all that up and to get us infected, and then everything I've worked hard for goes out the window. So knowing that much, and then seeing that I have a lot of learning to do when it comes to how I've carried things all through these years, and dealing with my husband and stuff, and knowing that now I have to learn a different way to be when it comes to how I treat my husband, and not being so forward and direct and so blunt and so, I guess you would call it, degrading. But I have to learn the feminine role in the proper way, and hear my husband when he's trying to tell me what I'm doing is not right, and take into that and actually respect it and respect him. So I have a lot of learning to do. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do it right. I don't know. It's all a journey for me. So I'm definitely going to be trying my hardest, and hopefully it works. We'll see. But I'm really waiting for the day that I can just be like, come home. Just come home. I just need you home, because I miss him so much. I really do. I need my husband. I really need my husband here. And even if he wasn't doing what I need him to do, I can hopefully look at it in a different way, to where, because he does help. That's the craziest thing. Like, I don't know why I'm so strict on it. He does help. If I asked him, like, remember when I had the tire issues, he was giving me the money for it. When he knows specifically, and I think that might be something, now that I'm saying that out loud, that might be something else. Because if I tell him something directly, like, I need help with this particular thing, and I need this amount of money to help me with that. I can get this part, but I need help with this part. If I just detail it like that to him, he always comes through. That's the craziest thing. He always comes through. And if he doesn't have it right then, he never tells me no. He always says, okay, I can get this much on this date, but then I have to wait until this date to get the rest. And I'm like, I have to be able to say okay and accept it, because he is trying. And I have to look at it as he's trying, and he's still there. And I have to see it in that. And I've been doing that lately, and hopefully doing good with it. But at the same time, I have to really watch myself, because I'm still set in my ways, to where, like, okay, you said this date, and it's this date, and then you didn't even call me. You didn't even say anything. And then, but guess what? That next morning or that next evening, he had the money and he came through. So it's like, I have to learn that things might not work out exactly as they plan and exactly as you told me they would, but they are coming. And I have to trust in that with him. And I'm so used to people trying to fail me and not come through with their promises when it comes to me. And when I know I need the help, I need your help. And it's like, I need to be able to hear that he's there. And I hopefully can tune into that now that I'm knowing better. I'm hopefully able to learn past this and train myself to do it a better way, because it can't be that one-sided with me. And all these years it's been really strict and one-sided, and I have no idea why I even became this way, because my dad did not teach me that part. He taught me how to provide and how to do everything else, but he never told me to be strict. He never told me to. My dad actually doesn't like the fact that I separated from my husband. He's like, this isn't right. this isn't right. You need to talk to him. Talk to him. And he knows I'm very stubborn. So he's like, yeah, you need to just put that to the side. You can't let that pride take over everything. He's a good man. You need to talk to him. And I'm like, yeah, Daddy, I know. But at the same time, I'm like, but this and this and this. And I'm still not hearing. As him, my dad, as a man, he's telling me what I need to know. And I'm still like thinking about what I feel about things. And I'm like, I need to stop. Like, I really need to learn how to fix this. I need to learn how to do this the right way. I don't know where to find this. I guess I'm just going to have to learn inside myself. I don't know how, but I have to learn. And I don't know if my husband would ever see it as I learned anything, because it's been so far gone. So it's like, all I can do is try. And he sees that I'm trying. And I still got to let this ride out. It's not going to happen overnight. It's definitely not going to happen overnight, especially with this pandemic and being with my fears of what can happen during this pandemic. It's just got to play itself out. And my husband, he was even telling me that he's not ready to come back yet. He's like, I see you trying. I see all this is happening, but financially, I'm not ready. And I think it's because he's trying to feel like he can fit that mold that I need him to fit in to provide. But it's like, I'm like, really? Can you ever be really financially ready? For real? That's the way my mind's saying it. Like, I just need you home. I want you home. I need you here. My kids need you here. Everybody misses you. My kids miss their daddy. They don't like not being able to see him on a regular basis. I do still go out to see him at least once every couple of weeks. We'll drive out to his house and I'll let him see the kids because he needs to see them face to face. He needs to see us face to face. We are his girls, and it's not right for him to not be able to see us, and all he can see is on the phone or through text or anything like that. Yeah, that's cool as far as keeping in touch, but he's a sensitive heart. He needs to see our faces. He needs to see us in person. I just make it to where, you can't touch us. You gotta wear a mask, and I will not get out the car. You got to see us through the car window. I'll roll the window down and you can lean your head in there, but we can't do any touching because I don't know what you got on you. I don't know if you're infected. I don't know if you're contagious. I don't know if you're carrying something that may not be already showing in yourself. I don't know any of that. I don't know what you've been doing. I know you're around a lot of people. So it's like, I can't take that risk. So even though I go out there and make sure he sees us from time to time, and to me, that's all I can really offer you. But I know it's not enough because he's a sensitive heart. I know it's not enough. I know for a fact it's killing him to not be there. And it hurts to know that I'm the reason for all this. And I don't want to feel like I'm doing completely 100% wrong, because I'm like, I'm protecting my kids. I'm protecting myself. I'm making sure everything's taken care of. And to me, I'm doing fine. I'm doing right. But as far as him, I know I can do better. I just got to learn. And I hope he's there for it, because I need him to be. I need my husband to be there. But, well, anyway, so that's basically it. That's where we stand now of why I chose to separate. It was basically based off of frustration and being alone in everything, and I needed a partner. I needed my husband, and I didn't feel I had that. But if I look at now what I'm learning, I probably did. I just didn't see it because I was too busy looking for it in my way. That's deep. So there it is. Now it's all about fixing it. It's all about, making sure I can fix everything, to hopefully help my husband see me better, in a better light, and to hopefully heal his heart when it comes to things, and fix whatever it is that's in my heart that's making me have these ways. And I need to just fix it all. It's very heart tugging right now, because it's really hitting home for me, and just coming to this realization and saying it out loud, hearing myself say this stuff is very deep for me. And I'm gonna just say I gotta go, because I'm not about to be sitting up here crying on here. So I'm gonna just go, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for listening. Bye.